Praise the Lord. I trust you're doing well in the Lord today. Now, today, I'm going to answer a number of questions. I'm going to answer two specific questions that some of you left in the comments. And these questions, they are related. So that is why I wanted to answer them all in one video because they are more talking about the same thing. So the first person was saying, I have a question. Is it common that for us who pray in tongues are more persecuted by evil? Since it's so powerful, evil must hate what we do. I feel persecuted sometimes. Now, I'll just go through both the questions before I answer them because they are pretty much the same. The other question was someone was saying, thank you for these videos. A couple of questions. What does it mean when you are praying in tongues as you go about your day and things start going wrong? Plate falls, food pours, you decide to clean, something else happens, though you don't stop praying. Also, is it possible to pray in genuine tongues and still feel angry and react dramatically when people treat you unjustly? Now, you see, both of these questions, they are talking about spiritual warfare, the warfare side of praying in tongues. Now, the thing that you need to be aware of is that as long as we are in the world, there is contention between the kingdom of light and the kingdom of darkness. And you have to understand that if you choose to be on the side of the kingdom of light, you have automatically signed up to be an enemy to the kingdom of darkness. And they are going to come after you, like it or not. There are going to be attacks that will be planned against you, like it or not. Because remember, even Jesus himself spoke it very plainly, and he was saying that if the world hated the master, it will also hate us who are his disciples. And so you always have to expect that there's going to be a retaliation, there's going to be a warfare that will be targeted against you when you choose to be on the side of the kingdom of light and pursue the things of light. Now, the thing that you also need to know is that the kingdom of darkness, you see the way they plan their attacks, they don't just attack anybody. Usually they target their attacks based on how advanced someone is in terms of their commitment to God and how powerful they are. Because remember, the more powerful you are, the more distraction you cause to the kingdom of darkness. And so usually they are going to allocate more resources to try and bring you down depending on where you are. Now, for majority of people who pray in tongues, of course, it is a very advanced level in terms of spiritual ranking, because remember, when you pray in tongues, you are allowing the Holy Spirit to intercede through you, and there is a lot more that you cover in prayer as opposed to somebody who is just praying in understanding. And because of that, the kingdom of darkness knows that people who pray in tongues need to be taken more seriously when it comes to stopping them, as opposed to people who probably just pray in understanding. Now, the thing is that when you are a prayerful person, sometimes the assumption is that because I am very prayerful, my life should be very smooth and there should be no sort of chaos in my life. But actually, sometimes it is usually the opposite. There are people who their lives become more chaotic because they are more prayerful. And if their prayers go down, actually their lives become less chaotic. Now, usually, this is a scenario more like what was happening to Job in the Bible. Because remember, Job, he already had a fairly peaceful life that he was living before. But you see, his commitment to God and his dedication to God is actually was the genesis of the trouble that actually ensued in his life. So that the devil went to accuse him before God, saying he is only committed to God because of the things that he has and because God has been good to him. And you see, God was like the Lord said that was not the case, that Job loved God because it was out of his genuine heart. And so you see, there was that test that God permitted the devil to go and persecute Job and see if Job will actually cast God as the devil was claiming. But of course, that did not happen. So you see, when you become very prayerful and when you pray in tongues a lot, there are accusations that the devil like takes to God. Like there are accusations against you that the devil takes to God. And you see, some of those accusations, they like God will usually allow the devil to come and confirm himself that actually those accusations are false. And so you see that accusation where like God feels like this one the devil can go and confirm himself. Usually he will permit the devil to come and do whatever he wants to do with whatever he was claiming, so that he is proven wrong. So God will usually permit it the same way he actually did for the case of someone like Job. Now, of course, for us as believers, knowing that this happens sometimes can be terrifying, and we may be like, why would God allow the devil to come and mess up my life, or to come and like ruin things in my life? But usually the thing is that there is a reward for you anytime you overcome the devil. Because remember, like the like from the book of Revelations, where the Bible states that, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. So you see, there is a testimony that God wants us to have, a testimony of we have overcome the evil one. And you see, that testimony means that we have to be handed over to the evil one for him to do like whatever sort of like chaos he wants to, like bring whatever persecution he wants to persecute. And once we have once we have held on to our faith all through that persecution, then of course the enemy will be powerless, and God will reward us for having like stood firm in our faith in him. And so that is why God will usually allow some of the accusations the devil has against us for him to actually come and persecute us. And you see, generally, people who are very prayerful, they are top targets for the devil, and he's usually going to like target to actually persecute them. And so you have just to be aware that as long as you are praying in tongues, you are in a spiritual battle, and there are going to be attacks that will be formed against you. There are going to be like many schemes that the devil will put in place to try and trap you and pull you down. Some of them may be things like temptations for you to sin. Other things may just be false accusations against you. Other things may just be like little irritating things that the enemy just wants to irritate you, so that you are not in a peaceful mood to actually fellowship with God and pray in tongues and soak deep in the spirit. So you have to always expect some form of retaliation, some form of battle, as long as you are praying in tongues and as long as you are a believer. So like from the first question, the first person was saying, is it common that for us who pray in tongues are persecuted by evil? Yes, basically the more someone is committed to God and the more someone is closer to God and is pursuing God more, usually those people become a top target for the kingdom of darkness, and usually persecution increases for them. Just the same way Jesus Christ, you like remember, he was very blameless, and his ways were actually perfect. But you see, the devil still found ways to actually persecute him and get his, like one of his disciples to actually betray him. And you see, there were Pharisees that were also opposing him. So it wasn't a smooth sail for him, despite having been blameless and perfect even in the eyes of God. So you see, you have to understand that the more you become like Christ, the more you face the persecution that Christ actually faced. So actually, in other cases, persecution is usually a good sign that you are becoming more like Christ. Just the same way Apostle Paul also mentioned it, that he counts it a blessing for him to like actually suffer for the name of Christ. So you see, it is something that is actually good, and it is an approval that we are actually being like Christ. Because remember, Christ was persecuted, and he said, just as he was persecuted, we will also be persecuted. So as you pray in tongues and you have some days which maybe may feel chaotic, and sometimes you feel there are so many attacks against you and you feel like there is a lot of things that you are actually fighting, don't give up. It is part of actually just what happens. It is part of being a soldier. Not every other day is going to be a peaceful day, because when you are in a war zone, there are going to be days when the enemy will actually fire shots at you. And you see, though you may be protected that those shots will not hit you, but that does not mean that shots will not be fired against you. But you see, as long as you know you are a soldier, you know it is very normal for shots to be fired against you because you are in a battle anyway. So you see, you always have to have that understanding when you pray in tongues so that you don't get surprised by some of these things that happen. So any day that you get like some of these attacks, like what the other person was mentioning, sometimes like maybe you have a plate fall or things happening, don't get carried away by those things that are happening that are frustrating you or making you angry. Because I remember even like very recently something happened to me, and because at least I had this understanding, it was easier for me to know what was going on. There is a day I actually woke up and I was doing a fast. But then on that particular day, I just wanted to take a cup of tea. And you see, when I had prepared my cup of tea and I was just about to sit down and start taking that cup of tea before I go into prayer, what happened is that I I hit the table, and then that tea like spilled over the entire table. And you see, it was very frustrating because even some of that tea was almost going on some of my electronics, and so it was very, very frustrating. And it was like among the very first things to happen in the morning. But you see, I immediately understood like this is a spiritual battle. I'm just about to go into prayer, and the devil wants to discourage me. He wants to frustrate me so that I get discouraged to even pray. So all I did is I just stopped doing everything. I went and picked some serviettes to come and wipe that tea. And after like wiping that tea, I went just straight into prayer. So I didn't really allow the enemy to have a chance to like discourage me or to get me angry or to get me frustrated or get me distracted from actually the fast and the prayers that I wanted to do. So this is a very normal thing. It happens even to people who are very prayerful. So just expect it, and the Lord will usually just help you overcome it. And several times when the devil tries to get you to give up praying and you don't give up praying, usually he will just give up and leave you alone, and then you can just continue with your prayer as normal. So that was a little bit that I wanted to share today about those two questions. There are some more other questions that I have not yet tackled, but I will go through all those questions and make sure I answer them. So of course, if you have any other questions, you can always leave them in the comments. I will go through them and answer them as the Lord helps me. So that is it for today. God bless you.